Number 29 in the Radiance range is Le Combat dans Lile, a movie from Alain Cavalier. It came out in 1962. It's the second Cavalier film in the Radiance range after Fill Her Up with Super. This one is a French new wave movie that is very interesting, very strange, full of wonderful cinematography that just jumps off the screen, creating these fantastic images that really do stick in the mind. The basic story here is all about Clément, played by Jean-Louis Trintignant, a character who is really abrasive. He's not a very nice character.
Mais où crois-tu? Il faut toujours que tu te conduises comme une garce.
Lâche-moi.
Comme une garce!
Oh, quelle brute, mais j'en ai marre!
We are introduced to him, a friend, and his wife, played by Romy Schneider. And they kind of are just driving about. They have this feeling that they've just met up, but then you realise later on that they're in a marriage. It feels as if there's a great kind of cavernous gap between them. They don't really get on, but then they kind of spark off each other a little bit. And then you find out that Clément is part of an affluent family, but he has far-right leanings as he is part of a group that are looking to create some kind of almost terrorist activity.
Clément faisait partie d'un groupe extrémiste composé de 12 membres. Ils avaient choisi Serge comme chef et comme instructeur.
And it feels as if there's so much going on in this first part of the movie, and indeed through all of it, where you kind of lose grasp of where people are and what they're doing. At certain points we jump into voiceovers that explain little aspects of the movie, things that have been happening recently or things that are happening to a character. We jump from Clément at one point to his wife Anna at another point and kind of follow her story, and it becomes more of her story in the second half.
Ça, c'est la vie.
Oui.
On a fait naufrage et puis on a bu du champagne.
On a. Oui, et puis un millionnaire nous a fait la cour. Il est fou de nous.
This movie's full of twists and turns and surprises that I don't really want to get into too much, but things happen. Our characters kind of move into the countryside for a little while and introduce an old friend of Clément, Paul, and here kind of brings up some past memories of where people used to be in their lives, where they are now, possibilities of where things could go in the future.
Nous devons donc nous battre. Nous battre en duel.
Quel âge as-tu? 12 ans?
It's a film that has so much going on, and it seems to exclude vast swaths of the story, which we only hear in kind of voiceover or being told by a character later on. And it's an interesting aspect of the film for finding out what the director and the storytellers have decided to show us in the film and what has been excluded. And it creates some interesting strange nuances within the film itself. I really love the performances here. Trintignant is always great. I loved Romy Schneider as Anna, a woman that's almost oppressed throughout this film. In fact, everybody seems to oppress her in one way or another. She's looking for validation a lot of the time throughout men in her life. But there is a small sequence in the film, a very small moment, where she has the freedom to do what she wants to do, unhindered by anything. Her and her friend from the countryside end up on a boat of a wealthy man, and they're just having fun and living life the way they could. It's that small shining light for this character throughout the film, but it's the right-wing leanings of this character who slowly becomes more and more detestable all the way through the film. Clément is such a horrid character, and even when he leaves the film for a period of time, the fingerprints of his actions still linger throughout the storytelling. I was really marvelled by the idea of how it told its story, what it left out to what it actually included in, to the cinematography that was wonderful, to the really interesting finale that I wasn't expecting, but I really did enjoy. I liked a lot of the characters in this, a lot of the situations, the actual story itself. Once I got a good grasp on what was actually happening was fairly interesting and rather surprising. The Combat dans Lille was a really interesting film. It was one that kind of washed over me as I watched it, but kind of lingered a little bit around in my head as I think about it. I did enjoy it a good chunk, and I think there's more to mine in it as well. Going into it a second time, knowing where the story goes, I may see more of the sort of nuances that are there to be discovered. Let's dive into the extras and have a look. Here we are in the disc for Le Combat dans Lille. Let's go to the special features. First up, we have Alain Cavalier. There's a 1962 interview with a French TV show. He starts about working with his stars. He talks about Lile being an influence, this being his first film. It's 4 minutes 51 seconds. France 1961, created for the DVD release of this film. This 2010 short by Alain Cavalier sees the director looking over images from the film. It is 13 minutes 15. It's great. It's like a walk down memory lane, his own private images, handheld camera as he just kind of commentates as he goes through them. And we have Playing Dead, 4 minutes 46 seconds. We have Cavalier comments on scenes from Le Combat dans Lille. It is almost silent sequences of the film interspersed with almost a feeling of poetry as he commentates on the violence within his films. Jean-Louis Trintignant, an interview from a Belgian television show. Trintignant discusses the start of his career and Romy Schneider. This is 7 minutes 36 seconds. He's talking about how he'd almost give up on acting, how he had a choice of roles in this film, and this is the one he chose because he felt there was more range in it, and some other tidbits. The Succulence of Fruit. A 2020 video interview critique, Philippe Roger, provides an analysis of the film and Cavalier's approach to filmmaking, and this is 37 minutes 29 seconds. It goes into the influences of Robert Bresson and Jean Grémillon, the themes of the film, breaking down certain aspects of it. It's fascinating, offers a new insight into the film as well. Un Américain. Cavalier's first short film, made in 1958, is about a sculptor who comes to Paris. It's 16 minutes 38 seconds. It's about a character who's just about to turn 30. He's threw away everything in New York to come to Paris to live out his dream, which kind of turns into an almost nightmare, but one that he enjoys at times. There's also the gallery and the trailer, which is 3 minutes 22. Also within this package is a 36-page booklet where we have various essays and information also about Un Américain. My favourite essay within this one is Le Combat dans Lille, a tale of fascism and pacifism, which looks at Cavalier's first film through various different aspects, looking at allusions to war, the choices of the cinematography, which is fascinating. And that's the extras for Le Combat dans Lille. There we have it. Le Combat dans Lille is out now on Radiance. It's another one that I would say is well worth picking up. It's interesting, it's different, which they seem to keep bringing out these different kind of films, and it's definitely worth your time. I would love to know your thoughts on this one, so let me know in the comment box below whether you love it, hate it, fall somewhere in the middle. I can't wait to read your comments on this. As always, there's more content up here. You can see more of my stuff if you are interested, and in the description box below are links to Patreon, membership program, and manvfilm.com, always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.